Okay, so it looks like Canada's early on this one. I'm sure other people have done unboxings, but here's kind of a Kickstarter backer unboxing, or I guess I've already punched it, so it's not a true unboxing, but kind of organization and just a look at what's inside the box. So this is the Granja Deluxe Master Set from Board and Dice. Took a while to get here, but that's because of COVID. So I'm going to show you what's in the box, how I kind of organized it, and just to give you an impression of what you're getting when you buy this. I am a big Le Granja fan. I've probably played it, I don't know, including digitally online, probably close to 50 times. I don't think I'm a master or anything, but the game is one of my favorites, so this is definitely a no-brainer for me. So the lid is kind of loose, so I can get it all off with one hand. So there's the top. And this is how I've done it. So first would be all the rule books. So sorry for the glare, but we've got the rule book, the modules, of which there are a ton. The farm card glossary, which tells you what all the cards do. And then finally, sorry, the solo mode. I cannot comment on the solo mode. I am not a solo gamer. So, but 4 manuals, easily separated, which is kind of nice. So I don't know, for those of you that don't have the game yet or have it, this insert is good, but not great. It does keep everything kind of in its place, which is awesome, but the size of the trays is a little bit too big and is not as good as some of their other master set inserts and solutions. So everything's kind of loose here because I'm doing everything one-handed, but along with the rule books, I believe this is the Donkey Song module. So this goes alongside the main game board, and you'll see what I mean in a minute for that. And it has extra donkey tiles, like special donkey tiles, and I'll show you that in a sec. So there's also a clear plastic overlay or clear plastic cover that goes over this tray. Not too hard to manage when you've got two hands, but one-handed it's loose. Most of the things fit in here without baggies pretty well. I know some folks have been complaining, oh, it's not a perfect insert if you don't have baggies, but yeah, I don't know. This seems like a pretty decent insert. So all the cards are sleeved. I did not buy the sleeve pack, but I do use Paladin sleeves. So if you did buy the sleeve pack, this is how they're going to look. The new cards look great. The print's still kind of small-ish. This isn't a good example because there is no print. So I mean, if you're an old man like I'm turning into, it's okay, but functionally they're great. For those of you that have played the original game, this is definitely an improvement, and you'll see why in a second. Okay. So I did buy the metal coins, and you'll see that in the next layer of the insert, but I just wanted to show you that in theory, if you just wanted to play the base game with no expansions, you could use just this top tray and get the board, which is underneath, but you could swap those, and then it would be board, tray, player boards, and then you're done. But I put this tray up top, and you'll see why in a second. But in this compartment, I just kept the cardboard. But those are the coins, the player pieces. So the first kind of deviation, well, here, let me get to it in a second. But here's the player pieces in the 4 colors. And you'll notice I have the siesta discs in here, the turn order markers. You'll see why in a second. So there are those. Player aids, nice thick cardboard. And I think this is the solo board. Again, sorry, I don't do solo. Really good player aids. The original game had good player aids too, though. So, they're multilingual, no words, but you don't really need it. You play La Granja a couple times, and it kind of makes sense. Some of the free actions are hard to forget. All dice, including the stuff for the modules, is here. The green is for the player powers module. The gray is for, I can't remember, but one of the other modules. So in here, I'm not going to take them out, but you have the craft building markers, which used to be cardboard and kind of an ugly kind of blue. They are now unique shapes, which is super awesome because on the recessed boards, they have their own spots, so you know where they go. And it just kind of makes it easier to tell what is what at a quick glance rather than trying to look at it. So there you go. These are all heat transfer, heat printed. I had no issues with these tiles, like there's no sticking, no defects or anything like that, which is nice. In here, I also have the usage markers to let you know when you've exhausted or have something available. Because I'm used to the original, I just kind of use the player pegs to mark off those cards, so I haven't used those yet. And then what I thought was really kind of cool, was probably a minor addition, is when you play on the 3-4 player side of the game, if you're playing 3 players, you don't use certain spots. They're marked off with a number on them, but this lets you not block them off, which is kind of cool. It makes it a little bit easier to kind of see, and it was quite good. I played 3 players the other day, and it was nice. Over here, you have the large cards for the player powers. So there is one of the player powers, I believe, lets you hold an extra helper or extra player power, not player power, but a card with the section, the middle section. So that's the little cardboard overlay. And here are the cards themselves. I'm not going to show you them all. It's in the rule book. But to be honest with you, the art is great. Nice clear text. My only complaint is because they're so big, they're a bit flimsy, but I mean, it's not like you shuffle these. You're not passing these around. You're going to draft one and use them. Other side is for solo. And yeah, if you sleeve them, it's not a problem. And even with the sleeves, as everybody can see, I mean, all of the sleeved cards here fit in this insert perfectly. This is a bit snug, maybe some dividers, but I mean, you can print that stuff, so pretty good. Let me just move this stuff over. So yeah, so as I was saying kind of before, one of my big deviations here is they suggest to put the siesta markers here. I just put the blocked off buildings markers. It made more sense to me. I don't know. You do you. We have the player order markers. So I can't complain a lot. It looks like I got a little bit of a funky heat transfer here, but I don't think that's going to be a big deal. It's on the underside of the player markers, so if you're like shuffling them up for turnover, it's fine. These do get moved around the board a lot, around the table a lot, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. Again, they look awesome. Boarded nice when it comes to the heat transfer stuff is usually pretty good. Here are the donkey tiles. So these are all the donkey tiles in the game. So the first 12 or so are for just the game itself. So again, if you've played this before, it tells you how many deliveries and how many steps up the turn order or the siesta track you go. Clear, concise. I have 1 or 2 tiles that have a slightly like rough edge. But again, you're picking these blind. Other people aren't going to be able to look at them closely, so it's not too bad. Later on, I was talking about the Donkey Song tiles. I think these are it. No, I don't know what that is. But there are some Donkey Song tiles in here that are a different color. And of course, now I can't get them out, so I look like an idiot, but maybe they're over here. There we go. I see something colored. So yeah, so you have these special different color tiles that are going to go in that cardboard overlay I showed originally, and they go along the siesta track, and that's one of the modules. I thought they looked interesting. I have not used any of the modules yet, so I can't comment on any of them. So these are the roof tiles. I think this is a great improvement over the Stronghold or the English edition. Nice thick wood tiles. Again, I don't see any imperfections, but what I've been doing is I just leave them in here. These ones are random. I didn't sort them for my last game at my game night, but these ones are random. But not only are they nice and thick and chunky, but there's also more of them. If you play the game a lot, in the first round there was always 4 different options, and even at lower player counts, you can almost kind of plan a strategy. Some of the tiles are pretty amazing. Balanced, I don't know. There's one that gives you double points for when you buy a roof tile, which I think is pretty awesome, but it seemed like a lot of points when I played my wife the other day. And then they have these broken roof tiles, which I think is a great idea. This is a module to kind of, for those of you that haven't played La Granja before, each of the tiles cost coins every round, and it's an increasing cost. So in round 1, it's 1 coin, and in round 6, it's 6 coins. This way, you have these broken roof tiles that are kind of available, and you can buy those instead of having to pay money. Depending on how the dice plays and how good you are at La Granja, or how experienced is probably a better way to say it. Money can be tight, so that's kind of nice, and it makes it a bit easier. So I'm going to pull this tray out. This is my first, I think my only real big complaint about the game is the tray is functional, but the tray is too large. Okay? So you can kind of get it out one-handed. It's sturdy enough, but if you notice here, they're flared out and they're really tight. So if you look at my box, you can see that they're scraping a bit. So I need to either tape the inside, and it would have been nice if they would have taped it if they were going to go this way, but I understand why they wouldn't have. Or I need to trim those edges. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. So we'll see. I'm going to try and pull out the board. Board is beautiful. I don't know if I'm going to be able to unfold this one-handed. It has two sides. Sorry, it's dual-sided. All boards have two sides, but it's printed on both sides. So here is the 3-4 player side. Again, a big improvement on the main board, yet or in the original Stronghold edition. Yes, it's larger, but larger in a good way. The roof tiles, it reminds you that you get your donkey tiles back, which is nice after round 3. These sections are huge, so the dice fit in nicely. And what I think is kind of nice here too is they've left a lot of space here for when you do deliveries, because there's also a module here that adds like specialized, I think it's buildings. Again, haven't played all the modules, so I don't want to assume that I'm 100% correct, but yeah. So your markers go here when you do deliveries, siesta track, and here again you see those colors that correspond to those donkey tiles, those special donkey tiles I was talking about. And here again you see this is the shapes for all of the craft buildings. So for somebody who hasn't played, or even if somebody wants to help you set up, you don't have to worry about, okay, which square token goes on the square space. These all have different spaces, different shapes, which is so easy for setup. 2-player, and 4-player, remember I talked about the blocking. There's your 4-player marker if you don't want to bother breaking out those, not blocking, but covered up tiles. 2-player side of the board. It's kind of comical. The center is smaller, but for 2-player and solo, this is awesome. So it reminds you only 2 tiles. This is a bit smaller, so you don't have to worry about, oh, can I put this here? Do I have to block anything off? So that's kind of cool. Almost done. Okay. So here's the bottom layer. So there are 4 player boards that come with the game. I'm just going to slide this up and take these out because I want to demonstrate this, because this is the best. So there's a solo board. Again, cannot comment. Dual layer, just slightly recessed where certain things are. And here's the original, here's the multiplayer player boards. Again, dual layer. So you can kind of see like a glued piece of cardboard here, but this is not a problem. This is a great thing. So anybody who's played the original Granja, the whole concept here is you take these cards and they're multi-purpose, all right? And if you're a chronically habitual sleever like myself, as you were to slide them in here, they would kind of bump up against each other, or they would bump against other cards. So these cards get slotted on one of 4 sides. So what Board and Dice has done is they've actually put in predetermined or pre-cut portions, sections on the back of the board. And so they're technically triple layer boards, and the reason this is good is now these cards, they don't ram into anything. And if you're playing on a softer surface, like a playmat or a gaming table, or even when we were at the bar the other day playing with my board game group, they fit in, and if you slide it in, of course now it's not going to work that I'm doing it one-handed, it doesn't go anywhere. So this will, it's going now because I'm tapping it, but this won't go any further. It stays in place. These ones on the bottom, again, doing this one-handed, and it's still working pretty well. Believe me, folks, it's much easier two-handed. Again, there's very little play. This card doesn't bump into this cards. When you slide the cards in the top, they don't bump. This is amazing. If you like this game, this is almost worth the price of admission alone. It's so good. All right, so we got the bottom tray. So what I did here is, so Board and Dice in a Kickstarter update, they suggested throwing all the coins and the victory points in there, but I put them in little buckets because I like to have them at the side table. Here is a plastic cover. It's got kind of a thumb spot, which serves as it lets you pull out the player boards, but it also kind of lets you get a grip on it. Comically, it says La Granja rather than La Granja, which is a typo. They did come up with a La Granja variation on the game where it's like giant, but it wouldn't fit on my board. So, okay, so here is where we kept the modules. So you're going to have to forgive me. I don't remember the names of all of them. There's a trading module here, And there's the Stefan Feld module where there are the friendly side and the not so friendly side. And it has to do with taking dice, and you kind of get to either pay or get things. And then when you have a certain amount, you either get a reward or you can only take so many rewards. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. And on this side here, we have more modules. There's a separate kind of like trade board. This adds a lot of depth if you've played the game a lot. And here's kind of all the extra wooden pieces for that. There's like a worker module section where you can put workers on craft buildings that let you do certain things. So screen printed, double-sided, which is nice. There's a larger peg version for when you're putting places in the marketplace. So again, screen printed and nice. Solo stuff. This is I think the buildings module with super amazing printed buildings, which look really good, and their own cards. So I left these out. And then I think this is a trading module. Again, you'll have to forgive me. But these are cardboard, which is, I mean, kind of a bummer. But, I mean, if it was all wood, it would be huge and it would take up a ton of space. So still very clear, good quality cardboard print and everything. And then lastly, I have the metal coins and the metal victory points. So I'm sure the glare is going to suck here, so I apologize in advance. But here we go. Let's see if I can get these open. So we'll do the victory points first. So they're very shiny. These are ones. Oh my, I can't even flip it over. These are ones. So there are ones, fives, 20s and 50s, and the 50s are huge. There's more than enough in here to play the game. I kind of wish, I don't know, there was like an intermediate step between, there used to be 3s, I think, in the Stronghold Edition, but because you have to make change a little bit when you're hitting 5s, but it's not inconvenient. I guess my only complaint is if you played the game a lot, in the original game, these were single-sided, so on the back they were just kind of flat, or you didn't have the denominations on them. So you could kind of hide how many victory points you have, because there is a certain point where if you're playing with a group of people who, want to min-max, they could say, oh, well, this guy's got 90 points, this guy's got 60 points, this guy's got 55. I'm going to target the 55-point player rather than working on what works best for them. Now they're double-sided here, so that kind of defeats that purpose. But they made that decision on the cardboard also. So let's see if I can find one here. 5 and 5. So this was a design decision. Why? No idea. We have the coins. These ones are easy. They look a bit like Yokohama, but a bit bigger. A little bit of a simpler design, but 1 and 3 coins. And again, this is more than enough for a 3-player game where everybody's getting tons of cash. I played a 3-player game with kind of a money-heavy strategy on a couple people, like a lot of 4s were coming up, and it was more than enough. We didn't run out. We didn't need anything else. So that's the main contents of the box. The only thing I want to kind of add on here is the donkey pen. So I believe this is a paid add-on, or it was free if you were on their mailing list subscription. So I originally thought this was kind of a gimmick and kind of a cosmetic, kind of goofy add-on. But in retrospect, I think it's actually a pretty good idea. So they're screen printed donkeys, and they're a neutral color because these are essentially used as kind of like a counting tool. And you have your, I haven't punched it yet because I didn't use it, and I think I should have used it, but I will throw it in the box now. So it basically creates a little pen, and you set this up to the side of the board. And what this helps you with is, especially later on in the game, when you have a bunch of free deliveries and helpers and dice that give you deliveries, and then you pick up, bonuses from the board that let you get extra deliveries, these help you keep track. So if I have 3 deliveries, I can have these here, and I've got the donkey pen off to the side, and as I spend my deliveries, I can be, okay, well, I delivered to this building, I delivered to this building, and then I delivered to this barrow, and now that I have none left. So that's actually a smarter idea. I wasn't expecting to use it, and now I think I am going to use it because online it's not a problem, but when you're playing, physically with the physical edition of the game, it's nice to keep track. I think that's it. That's my kind of storage and kind of organization of the La Granja box and a bit of commentary. Honestly, a couple dings and dents here. I don't think the box is the sturdiest. Would be kind of my second complaint with the inserts. But if you move this tray to the bottom and you put the player boards and then you put the game board and then this kind of larger, heavier tray, it kind of minimizes the rubbing. So I think it'll be okay. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I've already played it twice at 2-player and 3-player, and it's every bit as good as I imagined. Thanks for checking out the video, folks.